Well, next week is Men's Health Week, and more than ever, mental health is at the forefront of mind for male Australians. Joining us now is GQ Australia editor Mike Christensen. Thanks for your time this afternoon.
Pleasure, lovely to be here.
Mike, GQ has done a State of the Man survey. Tell us why you guys have done that and what findings you found.
I think it's really important, I guess, to check in with our readers every so often to make sure that they're appreciative of, we know what they're really interested in. And I think the State of Man survey was a really good opportunity to hear from them. And some of the key takeouts were in and around the environment and the issues around that, and also mental health, as you mentioned. So it's hugely important. I guess we were quite surprised by some of the... Well, it was quite impressive that there was about over half of our readers have had a mental illness before or had issues with it. But the most important thing is that 90% of them have been really keen to and able to speak about it and open up. So that was something which was pretty big. But I guess the findings were that 100% of people thought that it was very much an area that needed to be, I guess, more awareness raised around it.
Yeah, and I read as well that in 2016, mental health rated as third.
Yeah.
So that's obviously something that's, I think, working, that we're doing as a society, creating more focus on that. It
certainly is, yeah, and which is very important. I guess, it comes down to making sure that you're thinking about yourself and looking after yourself. And other findings we found was that half of our readers exercise daily, which is great. And I think that's another way in which you can sort of see how you can look after yourself.
And tell us a little bit about the ball that you guys have just had. Why is it important to have this GQ ball? Because I guess it's a good opportunity to get dressed up, but there's a lot more to it and a lot more depth to it than that, isn't there?
Yeah, fully. I mean, with GQ, we love to throw a party, but the GQ Gentleman's Ball, which was on Thursday, was a really good opportunity to celebrate really influential men and women who are really affecting change and enacting change. And we had people like Elise Perry, for example, on the panel. We had Adam Briggs, who's doing incredible things there within the Indigenous community. We had a guy called Mitch Wallace, who looks after mental health in terms of...
it's the heart on the sleeve guy.
Yeah, heart on the sleeve guy, exactly, yeah. So that was great, and he spoke so brilliantly. Hamish MacDonald was hosting for us, which was great, and he's a great sort of example of a GQ man, I guess, So it was really a really great night. As I said, it was a good opportunity to have fun, but there were some really big stories and sort of big ideas, actually. That was kind of our theme. So big ideas sort of raise and push forward, and the audience were... We always tell it's a good thing when the panel were talking and the audience were just absolutely quiet for the whole time. We also had David Rothschild over from the UK, who's a British explorer, who certainly said his sort of mind, I guess, around climate change and how now is really the time to be pushing that. So I think they're all... it was a good opportunity to really show what GQ is all about. We're very much there for our style and fashion. We're known for that, but there was a good opportunity to sort of really show the sort of substance behind the brand and how we can be leading the way for men in 2019.
Now, that is an interesting discussion because I think for men in 2019, the notion of toxic masculinity, that gets used a lot. And I think this is a really interesting decade for particularly young men to navigate what it means to be a man. And I think that we know that there's a lot of mental health issues that are coming along with this almost identity struggle because... I guess the expectation of what a male does in society and the role that has changed exponentially. So you mentioned before as well, a GQ man. Obviously your publication, how do you have a role in that, in trying to help men navigate what the idea and what the role they should be aspiring to?
I mean, we have a huge role to play, and it's a responsibility that I myself take very seriously as the editor of GQ. I think... The great thing is that, it's all about showing positive stories and showing people who are doing great things in the world and really sort of, we want to challenge the status quo and make sure that people, they know the difference between wrong and right. And I think, so it's very much like an education process. But as I said, it's all about, for us, really sort of pushing the positive stories out there, the ways in which guys should be behaving and how they can behave. And, everything we're talking about just now really sort of plays into that.
Yeah, I think as well, what a man looks like. There's so many different interpretations of that now. And I think for a publication like GQ, you really have an important role in having role models on the front cover that particularly more malleable minds at young ages that are looking up to. How important is it for you guys? You mentioned a few different types of people that people with, you know, Indigenous backgrounds, people that might be homosexual, people that are all different. How do you try and use those variables in an issue when you're publishing it?
That's a good question, Charlotte. That's a good question. Well, I guess, you know, we're all about, equality and making sure that we are telling the right stories and we're the sort of making sure that everyone feels represented. That's very important to us. We have cover stars from Liam Hemsworth to Ben Simmons, obviously, who's doing great things over within the NBA. But I guess, you know, as I said, it's just about making sure that we represent, I guess, all men, and we sort of stand up for every single man out there.
And just very quickly before we go, next week is Men's Health Week.
Yes.
Obviously, we know that mental health is a big one. Will you guys be doing anything special for that?
We will be doing, yeah. And I think I mean, these kind of weeks are a great opportunity, whether it's days or weeks, it's a great opportunity to just make sure that you're connecting with yourself. And, you know, that shouldn't be a selfish thing. I think that's one thing you can take out, is that you do need to think about yourself every so often. Otherwise, everything else around you can kind of, you know, fall to pieces. So, make sure you look after yourself. And, we will have some decent bits going on online next week.